Arsenal are hoping to finalise negotiations with Juventus today to finalise the deal for Arthur Melo to join on loan this season. There have been talks that Juve would not allow him to leave the Italian giants without an obligation to buy in the summer. But Arsenal are looking to get the deal done on a loan basis only, with no compulsory purchase order at the end. There's also a major boost today with the Vlahovic to Arsenal deal as well, with the agent, as we already know, looking at some money here, demanding big money from Fiorentina for the player to stay beyond the January transfer window. We're also going to talk Rudiger's new deal boost at Chelsea Football Club as well on the Done Deal show this morning. Make sure that like button is being smashed. Make sure you're subscribed to the Football Terrace. Let's do this. Welcome back to the Football Terrace, ladies and gentlemen. I do hope you are well. I hope you're all good this morning. Some big transfer news to bring you, courtesy of Charles Watts. A nice update in relation to Vlahovic as well, if you're an Arsenal fan, gives you that little bit more hope that this deal could get done. Chelsea fans looking for updates at their club with no real sign of any new fullbacks coming in, but Antonio Rudiger's new deal takes another positive step forward. It does. But I want to know, first of all, before we delve into all of that, where are you all at today? What are you all up to? It's Friday. What are you doing on your Friday today? What are you going to be doing with your day? For me, I'm going to stream now. I'm going to make myself a nice bit of breakfast, then hit the gym. Then we've got the Bet Victor Top 6 show later today, 6 o'clock, where we're previewing the North London derby, City versus Chelsea as well. And then I'm going to sit down this evening when I'm all done with work, because I think it's out today, the brand new season of Afterlife. That's my Friday. I'm very excited about it. It's very basic, but I'm very, very excited indeed. I want to know what you are doing today. Let me know. Just a quick shout out to the moderators as well. A lot of people are getting timed out and banned at the moment for no real reason. I need that to stop. Otherwise, with all due respect, I'm going to remove everybody's privileges and start all over again. If you get into an argument with someone in the comment section, or they say your club's rubbish, that isn't a good enough reason to time someone out or block them. So please stop doing it. Right. Where do we go? Where do we start with today? I want to start with Antonio Rudiger, if I'm being honest. I want to start with Rudiger today. 5th of January, I tweeted out that there'd been positive talks between Chelsea Football Club and Antonio Rudiger's camp. This is all true. This has all happened. Chelsea found out that the offers that Rudiger had received from the likes of Real Madrid was nowhere near as high as they initially made out. There was claims of £400,000 a week when the figure was actually nearer to £140,000 per week. Of course, a play here by the agent to try and get his player as much money as possible. As much money as possible. And I think from my point of view, it's one of those things where I understand what the agent's doing. But Chelsea have held positive talks. They believe and they are growing more confident they can get this deal over the line. Nothing is agreed as of yet. We know that Chelsea, we know that Manchester United, we know that Real Madrid, Paris Saint-Germain are all interested in the player. Chelsea, of course, have to make an offer that the player feels represents his quality in the team. And the levels that he has gone to under Thomas Tuchel have been absolutely fantastic. Antonio Conte and Tottenham, Manchester United are all willing to pay over £200,000 per week to bring him into the football club. Chelsea I think they have to match it plus some, in my opinion. I think they're going to have to do that to get this deal done. But it is moving ever closer. It is becoming more and more likely that Chelsea are able to get that done. And I think it's going to be a sense of relief for Chelsea fans, because There's almost this growing sense at the moment at Chelsea of, if Christensen leaves and if Rudiger leaves and if Aspie leaves, that's going to take a big percentage of our transfer window up. That's going to be a lot of the focus, replacing those individuals at the back. Clubs are then going to know that you're desperate. Clubs are then going to know you need those players. You can't lose those three and go into the new season without those holes being filled. Chelsea will not win the league or Champions League at all if they don't replace those players. It means the likes of Sevilla with Jules Koundé as an example, they can try and create a bit of a bidding war. They can hold back. They can keep refusing deals. They can try and push prices up. They can try and entice other teams to get involved. It could become precarious for Chelsea, irrespective of how good Marina is. So I think it's very positive news that Chelsea Football Club are making progress with this deal. I think it's very important, as I say, for the summer going ahead. And also, how many centre-backs out there are actually better than Antonio Rudiger right now? I don't think we can look beyond that. There are not very many that are better than him in the market instantly. Jules Koundé might go on to be a better defender. Sarr might go on to be a better defender in his life. But in the contemporary sense, right now, in the next 12, 24 months, which is always important to Chelsea, winning in the here and now is never dropped in the pursuit of progression. It's progressed at the same time as winning, essentially. Antonio Rudiger is needed. I think Chelsea will eventually offer him a deal that gets it done and over the line, especially, forget PSG and Real Madrid, especially if Tottenham and Man United increase their offers and his head is really turned. So what I was told by a few people kind of in the know here is that Rudiger isn't overly keen right now on Tottenham or Man United. He isn't disrespecting their clubs. He'd rather stay at Chelsea. But if there's a slight increase in money again from one of those clubs, if Chelsea annoy him in the next phase of negotiations, which have to start soon because we're getting into the tail end of the season, his head could be turned. And I think Chelsea, a little bit like we were talking about with Mo Salah yesterday, I think wipe your mouths, concede a little bit of defeat in this negotiation, increase the offer by 20, 30,000 pounds per week, sign this man up, get the deal over the line, and, and just make, and just move on to your proper targets and stop wasting time on this deal. Guna Dan here says he is a 100K player max. I mean, Chelsea fans, do you agree with that? Is he only really worth 100K max? I want your thoughts and I want your feelings on that one there, people. Now, we are going to open up the lines this morning for you to come on and have your say. But I want to speak about Vlahovic. I want to speak about Vlahovic for a minute because, again, a number of days ago now, we spoke to a few journalists. We spoke to some people connected to Arsenal about what's going on at the club. And what we were told then is that Arsenal are confident. They believe they can do it. A big money offer is going to be made, or they're building up towards a big money offer over the course of January, and they've been fairly public with it. One of the pieces of information that has been kind of lost in a lot of the journalistic pieces on this has been the agent and the agent's demands. That's what's really stood out to me. That's what's really stood out to me in this. What does the agent want? What is the agent asking for? Agents play a huge part in this, both for the purchaser at times. Can they get the deal done? Can they, they act as the intermediary a lot of the time as well. How influential is that agent over their client is also really, really key. Now, what we were told is that Arsenal were prepared to pay the agent directly north of £10 million if he can convince his player that Arsenal is the club for him. Now, what's very intriguing is reports are now coming out saying that Fiorentina will ask Vlahovic in the coming days where he believes his future lies amid the interest from Arsenal this January. Goes on to say here that this is what I was saying. It went, the Gunners, of course, want to add the forward this month, but the Serbian has remained coy over his future. There is no proof that he doesn't want to join Arsenal. This is a media sort of speculation that's been blown out of proportion. He went on to say the CEO at Fiorentina had recently said that we expect Dusan to make a decision on his future immediately. We need answers if he stays or if he wants to leave. Fiorentina have also offered him a new deal. And this is what's intriguing to me. The agent is now demanding in and around well over £8 million to sign a new deal at the club. And Fiorentina are fuming over this. And the reason why it's a lower offer to renew his deal than move on is because what they're seeking to do is the agent is looking for the best deal for his client financially and himself, and it's very clever. But I do think it's a boost for Arsenal because the agent's thinking, right, he's 21. We'll get him onto a new deal. We'll get a buyout clause put into it, maybe £100 million, maybe 105, whatever it may be. I'll get a big kick now. 5, 6, 7 million pound in my back pocket cash. My player gets a huge wage increase. He's on about £50,000 a week now. We'll get that up to 110,000 pound a week. And then maybe in a year or so's time, when, maybe he doesn't move this summer. Maybe it's a year later he moves. The club get a big boost. I then still get another big lump sum from the clubs that I'm looking to move to. Maybe not be as high as what Arsenal were offering, but I might get another 5, 6, 7 million pound, meaning in the space of 18 months, 2 years, I could get 12 to 15 million pound in fees for a new deal and then moving the player on. Fiorentina get their money back because they're now getting a much bigger transfer fee. The player gets even more money. Everyone's a winner. The reason why this is a positive for Arsenal, though, if you let me finish my piece off, is that it shows that the fact that Fiorentina are frustrated with the agent wanting money means the agent is motivated partly by money. And if these claims are true in the fullest, that Arsenal are willing to pay him big money in agent fees, it's another reason why there is a distinct possibility that Arsenal could get this deal done and over the line this month. It is so intriguing to me that Arsenal are going for this approach because it's typically not been Arsenal's way. But I think it's exciting for them. Sometimes you have to put your money where your mouth is. Sometimes you've got a player here who I believe he is considering Arsenal. I do not believe these weird rumors that Arsenal were just so far at the back of his mind, he doesn't even know where North London is. I think that's all crazy talk. Arsenal Football Club are massive. I think he's thinking about it. I think he's looking at it. I think he's considering it. The one thing that goes against Arsenal is where are they going to be next year? Will they be in the Champions League? Will they have picked up any trophies this year? We don't know. He doesn't know. But if they can sell the project, and listen, I know people Arteta said he shouldn't have to convince anyone to join the club. Listen, that's cap. All clubs have to convince people. Think about Erling Haaland right now. Every single big club in Europe is fighting for him. His father and agent did a fucking European tour. A European tour. Nah, we don't. Barcelona, we don't fight for players. Man United, nah, we don't try and convince people to join Man United. Bullshit. Everybody does it. Don't be dragged in to the PR stuff. My club, we don't try to convince anybody to play for us. People just pick us because they love us, because we are whatever fucking club you're called. It's a load of old nonsense. It's a load of old tosh. It's a load of old guff. Guff. Absolute guff. That's what it is. Everybody has to be convinced. Everybody has to have that happen. You can't get away from it. Legitimately, you can't get away from it. It has to happen that way. So Arsenal were doing the right thing. It's going to be intriguing to see how this kind of pans out and moves forward. And weirdly, my earphones seem to have got very loud recently. I've gone very loud in my own ears. But there we go. Let's look at some of your comments that are coming through here. Superfleet guy, bollocks. Yeah, I mean, it is bollocks. All clubs have to convince people to join and stay. It's why, have you noticed this? Even like your academy players at your football club, they don't just walk into the office when their contract gets to 2 years left and go, look, I've, you never get this where a player goes, look, I've got my agent to draft up a new contract. I want to do a 5-year contract. I'm willing to have a £10,000 a week pay rise. There you go. All I need is you to sign it off. No player does that. They walk in. They might initiate it and say, look, if you want me to sign a new deal, these are my demands. Otherwise, I'm leaving. That's the academy players do it. Honestly, clubs sell us such lies. And you know the worst bit about it is, as fans, we lap it up. We legitimately lap it up. We're like, oh yeah, my club is so special. Nah, mate, we all have to do it. We all have to do it. We really, really do. We all have to fight for players. There we go. Big up, DJ. Hope you're well. One of our members in the house there. Hope you're good. Terry, do modern day players care where they actually play, or is it all money motivated? I think they do care where they play. Players care about legacy. Players care about winning. Players care about being part of the right setup and project. Of course they do. But money is a motivator. The majority, 97% of football players come from poor and working class backgrounds. Their job in a lot of their minds is to secure their future and their family's future for generations. And it should always play a big part in the professional decisions that you make in your life. So I don't think we should scoff at it. I would do exactly the same thing. And if you can get good money and be part of a good project at the same time, then so be it. Sometimes as well, though, it's about the stepping stone. Maybe in his heart of hearts, Arsenal is a better next move for Vlahovic at 21 years of age than going to a club where he's expected to help them win major trophies straight away. Look at Jovic when he joined Real Madrid. Too soon. Renato Sanchez to Bayern. Too soon. João Felix. Too soon. If you do some research, there are so many examples of players making those gargantuan moves too soon. Erling Haaland going to Dortmund first was the right move. I think going to a giant club straight from Salzburg could have been a step too soon. Too much expectation. Take your time with it. Take your time with it. So there are multiple layers here. It isn't just he's after money. Like it's as simple as that. There we go. There we go. Now, the other news doing the rounds this morning is Arthur Melo. Arthur Melo from Juve. Now, this is a really interesting story because yesterday, there's a lot of talk from the Fabrizio Romanos, a lot of newspapers, I think the Daily Mail as well, basically saying they were still far apart in negotiations because Arsenal want a loan with no obligation to buy. Juve want an obligation to buy at the end of this deal. So it was like they come to an impasse. There was no way forward. But Charles Watts, very credible Arsenal journalist today, has said that Arsenal are hoping talks with Juve today can really move things forward in terms of the loan move. The player wants the move done quickly and is pushing for it, sees the Premier League as the best league in the world. Of course it is, but of course he's going to say that. Everybody says it when they're on their way to the Premier League. They don't want, why would you go, yeah, I'm looking forward to going to the third best league in the world. It would never make sense. Juve are still to sign off on it, though. Arsenal and Arthur are waiting. So this deal is essentially almost done. They are almost at a complete and utter total agreement with one another. And I think for me, what's really important about this is what Arsenal can do in the negotiation rooms. I think he's a very talented player. I think it's someone that can come in short term that potentially can give Arsenal a lot more bite in that middle. You've seen this weekend, we're going towards the North London derby. There is the distinct possibility the game could even be postponed because Arsenal have got so many players injured out and away. And if you think about it, Granit Xhaka, even when he's fit, is a complete liability. Huge liability. He's that. Do you know what he is? I saw an example of him the other given, and it's perfect with Granit Xhaka. He's your friend that everyone loves, but when they have a drink, but they're a bad drunk. So they're perfect unless they get drunk. That's Xhaka. He's absolutely perfect until he has a mad moment, and then he becomes the villain. So I think it's a good bit of business here for Arsenal. The deal is very, very close to being done. There is a total agreement in place between the player and the football club. And I think that's very, very important. That's very, very important. They are in agreement with one another. They want the deal to go through. The player wants to join Arsenal. And it's a very good piece of business, I think, especially for Arsenal. If they can get that obligation to buy removed, it puts no pressure on them. If he comes in and he kills it, they can sign him. I think, and this is my opinion rather than what I've read, I think they should get an option to buy included. You get an option to buy included. And I think what that does for you, it gives you the ability to be able to be ahead of the game if he does well. Because the last thing Arsenal want to do, and I remember, I don't remember what player this was. I think it was when they signed Danny Ceballos. I remember there was no obligation to buy in the deal. And I remember I was talking to an Arsenal friend of mine. I said, "Are you not just slightly concerned, that if they were to that so I said to no, I said to him, well, aren't you concerned if he does brilliantly, but you've got no obligation or option to buy as a first point of call, that another big club could sweep in? That's the one thing you have to guard against if you are Arsenal Football Club, in my opinion, is I think you have to ensure that you get a first refusal. There has to be something along those lines, in my opinion, at play. That's just my take, though. But listen, we've got around 15 minutes left on the show today. I want you to come on and have your say on these three big transfer and new deal stories. I consider them all transfer stories, really. I'm going to share the link in the live comment section for you to come on and have your say. And remember, have you got yourself signed up to the Fan Team Fantasy Football League? It starts tonight, I believe. Tonight, I believe that starts. So you need to get yourself signed up. You need to get that done. If you haven't done so already, check out our streams from yesterday. All the information is in there and on that. But you'll need it. You really will. What we just saying here? John's Arsenal are back. A lot of fans are now worried about them. The young, hungry squad. Listen, Arsenal were looking very, very dangerous. I think anybody that denies that is mad. Would I say Arsenal are back? No, Arsenal are back when they're challenging for a Premier League title. So I'm going to be a little. That's when Arsenal are back, because that's Arsenal standards. Are Arsenal on the road to success? Yes. Yes, it is, without a shadow of a doubt. Sarim here says, Arthur is a serious signing. Well done, Arsenal. Evening, Matt, over there on Twitch. Hope that you are well. Remember, we're actually struggling with Twitch streams from home. They keep cutting out, and I don't know why. We hit a certain amount of people viewing it, and then they cut out and start again from zero. So I'm going to have a look into that today. But we will be doing another watch along if the North London Derby goes ahead this Sunday from the studio. So make sure you all go and follow our Twitch account. The link for that is in our description below. Also, the new notification group chat, so you don't miss any more Football Terrace videos when we go live. The link for that group chat is in our description below. So get yourselves into it so you don't miss any notifications when we go live and when things are happening and all that jazz. Right, we're going to go to our first caller today. Oh, actually, first, what does Matt say here? Because I was actually happy to see Arsenal beat Liverpool. Made it easier for us in the final if Arsenal win. Yeah, look, next... do you know what I like about the 0-0 as a complete neutral? It makes the second leg more exciting. When Chelsea won the first leg 2-0, only once in the history of the EFL Cup has a team overturned a 2-goal or more deficit from the first leg. So it almost made the second game over before it started. Tottenham were going to have to complete a piece of history only done once in what, like 100 years? I don't quite think the League Cup's like 100 years old, but in and around 100 years. Say a century. It's a long time. Right? Think about how many things have happened since the EFL Cup was born. When did the EFL Cup even start, actually? Let me just have a quick look here. EFL Cup. I need to know now. When did it begin? Oh, actually, it's 62 years old. Sorry, nowhere near 100. But look what's happened in the last 62 years. And only once in that time has a team done that. So it being 0-0 makes it very intriguing, very exciting indeed. And I can't wait for that game. Next week, I can't. Shrey's coming on now to have his say. If you want to call in, please feel free to. Arthur Melo to Arsenal. Total agreement in place between the player and the football club. Arsenal getting that Vlahovic boost. And, of course, Rudiger's new deal. Shrey's on the show with me now. What you saying, buddy?
Hey Terry, how you doing?
I'm very, very well indeed, mate. What's on your mind?
Yeah, I wanted to start with Rudiger. I wasn't actually concerned from the start, actually, because when the rumor came out that he wants 400k a week, like my only thought was, who the hell's gonna give him that 400k? Because like clubs are running out of money. The clubs like Real Madrid, like he preferred apparently Real Madrid. So now they're out of the running. So I think this is actually very good news now, because the 180, I think it's believe 180 to 200 somewhere there is what they're negotiating for. And all's well, I think. Now what is next? I think Chelsea, I've heard that they're looking at Kunde and Kimpembe. Now that is something that's very interesting. If that is, I think, for the situation that either Christensen and Thiago Silva both leave, but now that's not happening. So yeah, all the from a Chelsea fan's point, it's good news, for me. And as far as Vlahovic is concerned, I think this deal will get done, honestly, because Fiorentina are not. I think if I'm Vlahovic, like if I'm not winning, I'm not really doing anything. I'm just scoring goals, and so what's the point of me really staying there? So I think that's the incentive for Vlahovic. For to go to Arsenal, score goals there, and probably get into the Champions League. I think that's much better competition for him.
Look,
So
I,
yeah,
I think I think there's a lot sort of to unpack with it. As an example, there's a lot going on. There's a lot that can happen and everything else. But I think Vlahovic is definitely a good piece of business for
yeah,
them. There is no
yeah.
doubt. And I think Arthur Melo could be as well. And it's interesting, really, because a lot of people are sort of like, I think a lot of people are playing it down, and I think a lot of people are being a little bit sort of disrespectful in many ways. I think people have been a
Yeah,
little bit
yeah,
disrespectful to Arsenal when looking at these
yeah,
deals. I
yeah.
really do think people are being a
Yeah,
little
I
bit.
think I think with Arthur, I think it's more the Brazilian angle. Like I believe Arthur Melo is Brazilian, even like because of his connection with Edu. I think that's why they're not really playing. They're not believing in it that much because because of the Brazilian connection. That's where I think people are not playing it. That they're not giving that much importance to it. That's why I think
Yeah,
that
no,
could be a possible
I kind
reason.
of get it. I think what goes against Arthur a little bit is the fact that he's kind of been this weird player that's been pushed around Europe a little bit recently, almost like people haven't
Mm,
taken him overtly seriously. And maybe that's
mm.
what he's looking at now. He wants to go and join a club and a team that actually wants him, that where he can be
Right,
successful.
right.
And he's only 25 years of age. He's still young.
Okay.
He's
Yeah.
still he's a good central midfield player. He's more of the
Mm,
attacking variety. And he got, I think, a good few, only sort of 2-3 years ago, this guy was valued at around 60 to 70
mm.
million pounds as a football
Right,
player, and a lot of people looked at him. A
right.
lot of people wanted him. A lot of people considered him to be like one of the next sort of superstar midfield players, and it just hasn't worked for him.
Work
It
for
just
yeah.
hasn't. He just has never had. He's never been at the right place. But Martin Odegaard was looked at like that, and a lot of us, when
Mm,
Arsenal
mm.
looked at him, were like, I don't know. And he has slowly, over the past 12 months, started to become a player. Maybe he hasn't
Yeah,
quite yet reached the heights and consistency that his 15, 16-year-old talent suggested, but he started to deliver.
yeah.
Not Wenger, Arteta might look at this deal from that exact same angle. But Shrey,
Right.
absolute top
Yeah,
man.
another thing I just
Go on,
wanted to
go on,
say
go on,
quickly.
go on, go on, go on.
Yeah, even for Arsenal, I think as a club also it makes a lot of financial sense also if you really think about it because it's on a loan. So and even the loan is not going to cost them a lot of money. So say if it doesn't work out again, they can just give him back. You can just send him back. You don't lose that much money.
Exactly. If Arsenal get the deal in the way they want, where
Right.
there's no like obligation to buy him,
Right.
it's a
Right.
good piece of business. January transfers are very hard
Right.
to get done, especially if your
Right.
number one target in that time period um doesn't want to, like, if the number one target at that time doesn't want to leave, or
Right.
the club are literally not negotiating the sale of him,
Right.
you're done. You know what I'm saying? It's as simple as that. Listen, Shrey,
Mm.
top man for
Yeah.
coming on and having your say. Really appreciate it, bro. Thank you. Um, Andrew's going to be on the show next to have his say. Vlahovic, not good. He was reserve player when Serbia's under 21s won the World Cup. But no disrespect, bro. That means nothing. That means nothing. It doesn't, people accelerate at different times in their careers. Some people are like amazing at 18. Others might take until their early 20s to like reach their full potential. I don't think it means too much. It's what he's doing in the here and now that matters. In my opinion, if Man City don't get Haaland, Vlahovic 100%, this is not me being salty as a Chelsea fan, he would choose playing for Pep over Arteta. And I don't disagree. I don't disagree with that. I think it's more along the lines, though, of how long is that Haaland deal going to take? Say Man City, Man United, Barca and Real Madrid spend the whole summer fighting for Haaland. But Arsenal was sitting there with a big contract, a big offer, a space on the tour bus ready for the preseason for Vlahovic. He might go, I want to go where I'm wanted. This is such a big thing for people, DJ. So I don't disagree that I think one or two clubs are ahead of Arsenal in terms of the preference of the player. But it doesn't always work that way. It doesn't always work that way in the end. Someone here says Arthur is poor defensively and struggles with physicality. Look, that may be the case. That may very well be the case, but we'll see how that works out and we'll see how that progresses moving forward. What? You man come with something every day. Done deal, done seal. What the hell? Well, the show's called The Done Deal Show. It's just the name of a show. It's just called The Done Deal Show. That's it. Really. You know, True Geordie had a show called The Kickoff, but they don't play football on it. It's just the name of a show. You know? Fabrizio Romano is the biggest transfer guru in the world. He has a show called The Here We Go podcast. He doesn't now announce a Here We Go on every show. Sometimes I don't know what people expect. But why do you call it The Done Deal Show when there's not always a done deal? It's just the name. Super Sunday is called Super Sunday on Sky Sports. But sometimes the games are boring. I get it all the time. Honestly, I get it all the time. Whatever I do, there's always these weirdos that get like upset and angry about it. I never really understand it, to be honest. But there we go. Listen, Andrew's coming on to have his say with us now. Are you going to unmute Andrew so I know you can hear me? When I say unmute, there we go. Andrew's here. What are you saying, brother?
Oh, hello. Good morning, Jay.
Hello, mate.
About you saying about the midfielders. Have you heard anything about midfielders? Because we have been linked with multiple targets.
What club, sir?
Man United.
Okay, so with Man United, what I've read, what I've seen, what I've heard, obviously speaking to having Dean Jones on this week as well, United have a number of targets. If one of those targets can come in January, Man United may look to do it if we can get rid of some players. Eric Bailly, Martial, Lingard are on that list. If not, it will move over until the summer. We don't know per se exactly who's on that list, but I would hazard a guess that the likes of Tchouaméni, Hadara, Zakaria, Ruben Neves is definitely on that list. Those are the types of profile of player that Man United are looking at. Whether or not the deal can be done, whether or not the deal gets over the line is a completely different kettle of fish in this month. I think Man United, we have about 27 players in the squad. So removing people is also going to be key. But we're halfway through. The Sevilla thing fell through. There was a total agreement between him and the club. But Man United and Sevilla couldn't get the deal done. So it's looking very difficult right now for Man United to get these done. But things can change very quickly, Andrew.
With the restructuring of the football club, I think, are we having two sporting directors? Is it going to be Ralph Ragnick and John Murta as football director?
Well, Ralph Ragnick is not going to be called the spot. I don't know what his position is going to be called, but essentially he is going to be running that department from a consultative point of view. Murta, as far as I'm aware, is in charge of overall the tactical approach towards buying players, renewing of contracts. So he will run a department of the footballing side where it'll be Ralph that oversees it. That's my understanding, but we've not been given any true indication of the complete structure. Andrew, I really appreciate you calling in, mate, and having your say. Thank you very much indeed, buddy. And everyone that's tuned in this morning, stroke this afternoon onto the Done Deal Show. We're back 6 p.m. for the Bet Victor Top 6 show. Make sure you're all back. It's going to be big North London Derby preview, Man City Chelsea preview, Man United Aston Villa preview as well, plus taking a look at some of the biggest transfer rumors as well. Get yourselves ready. It's going to be epic. Until then, take care. Goodbye.